Welcome back to Southern Character, where we share true life stories of grit and grace from authentic Southerners who follow their compass. I'm your host, James Lewis, and today I am in East Atlanta, literally on Hosea Williams Boulevard. You can hear the passersby.
The sounds of the South.
Sounds of the authentic South. East Atlanta, na, with acclaimed musician, vocalist, songwriter, founder and frontman.
Oh, you're talking about me.
I'm talking about you. Talking about you, boy. Of Blair Crimmins and the Hookers, founder and frontman. Also the infamous Lizard Lawyer.
That's right, yeah.
Mr. Blair Crimmins.
I forgot about that other side of myself from a past life.
Now, is that your alter persona?
It became one for a little bit. When I get into that Southern lawyer draw, it kind of becomes hard to get out of it.
It's an easy trap to fall into.
It's a very, very easy trap to fall in, and it's not unusual for me to get started with it and then realize that it is such a natural diction for myself, and really don't have to try very hard. In fact, the pedanticism of being a Southern lawyer extends far beyond my actual vocabulary into words that may not actually exist in the English language.
That's perfect.
Which makes it very a stream of consciousness and quite freeing.
And it doesn't matter if it holds up well in court or not. Now, this persona that you have adopted as a lizard lawyer, did you ever spend any part of your life in Louisiana, or is it just a caricature that you always enjoyed?
I have a lot of time spent in Louisiana.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's unpack this a little bit. So you are...
Did you think it was a Louisiana accent? I always kind of figured it for a Charleston, South Carolina.
I couldn't tell if you were going for Savannah or Charleston.
Aristocratic kind of Old South thing.
When I heard the Lizard Lawyer, I immediately just go back to Louisiana because personally, I grew up in New Orleans. I grew up in Louisiana. And do you remember the book that they used to have called the Yellow Pages? It used to be a physical book.
Yeah, I recall.
And in New Orleans, at least 50% of the Yellow Pages are attorneys.
Okay.
And my uncle and my uncle's uncle and my father's father. They were all Delta Kappa Epsilons at Louisiana State University with Mr. Huey P. Long, and so that it goes back. So I appreciate.
I'm not used to that particular type of accent. My dad was close friends with somebody that I called Uncle Mike from Louisiana. We'd go fishing with him, and he had kind of a city, like a Creole kind of drawl to him, but he also. We'd go fishing with him, and he had a fish camp, on the reservoir, and there was a guy named Doc that just lived there, and Doc was Mike's, right-hand man, took care of the fish camp, and he had the most thick Cajun, French Cajun accent I could think of. So that's what I think of when I think of the Louisiana accent, but also. New Orleans folks, they sound like they're from New York.
Yeah, I went to Clemson for a very brief stint in my not so illustrious academic career, but whenever I would meet anyone, well, where are you from? I would say I'm from New Orleans. Well, you sound like you're from New Jersey.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I guess New Orleans people don't, because we don't live down the bayou. Mm-hmm. You don't really pick up, that accent.
The Cajun.
The Cajun. The Cajun. So why don't we just start here? Why don't you tell us, in your words, what Blair Crimmins and the Hookers is all about to you, what it means to you?
Blair Crimmins and the Hookers, it means kind of rebellion for me, I think. Because when I started it out, it was almost out of spite.
Really?
For being disillusioned by the music industry and trying to... at that point it was 2009, and I had been a rock musician for a long time in different rock bands, and I had studied jazz too. I went to Berklee College of Music for a stint, 2 years up in Boston, and I got kind of fed up with academia of music, and so I said, I just want to play rock. I just want to have fun. That's what I started playing music for, was to have fun. And then, lo and behold, after a while of trying to push rock up the hill, you realize you're getting older, and it hasn't really moved. You're still playing for the same people. Some of them are getting older and not coming to shows anymore because they have kids and all that stuff. And there was this kind of standard. I felt like there was a standard of look and sound that you were supposed to have if you were going to get a record deal, which ultimately in rock, if you don't get some kind of deal, like then you're just going to be playing for fun.
Right.
After a while.
You're supposed to be playing covers for free beer.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Right. And so I got fed up with people telling me like what I needed to do and what I needed to sound like and what I needed to wear in order to get my band to the next level. And at the same time, I had a couple other events that happened in my life that really changed my way of thinking. I had a severe head injury that I could get into a little bit more later.
Okay.
I also moved into Cabbagetown, which is a very historic neighborhood, and was kind of surrounded by all this early 20th century nostalgia and inherited all this old furniture from my grandmother who had passed, and records. And among those records was Louis Armstrong's Hot Five.
Okay.
And I put on that record in this old house, and they played Muskrat Ramble, and something just awoke in me. And after all that time studying jazz, that type of jazz was never really touched upon. That early New Orleans trad jazz, Dixieland, ragtime, and everything. Yeah. And that right there just sort of bridged the gap between, okay, this is intellectual jazz music and this is fun partying rock music. It's where the two came together for me. And it also included another part of music that was really important to me, which was writing songs, writing lyrics, not just being completely instrumental. From there, listening to Bessie Smith and Fats Waller, and even as down the road to Johnny Mercer and these great early jazz songwriters. That became, okay, this is where I was supposed to be the whole time in music, because I write lyrics like that. I don't write these crazy, obscure rock lyrics that, are about, or just stuff like Led Zeppelin talking about, I need your love, baby, and, like sex and drugs and rock and roll. I write stories, I write little quips, things like that. So I took to it so quickly, and once I found that path, and I just never looked back. But and there were so many people. I say that the band was dwindling, but the rock band I had still had a lot of fans, and they were not happy about this change.
They weren't happy about your shift.
They weren't happy about this shift. They kind of, they wanted things to stay the same, and I was tired of it being the same, and I didn't make the shift with the intention of, okay, this is going to be what's good for me, what's big for me. I'm going to be successful doing this. I did it because I was so tired of all the other shit that this just felt great and fresh and new, and it felt like my purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went and started building this band, but I didn't have contacts at the jazz clubs. I wasn't in the jazz scene, so I had to find musicians that were not only into jazz, but somehow interested in playing this style of jazz. Right. Which, if you find jazz guys, sometimes they're more into smooth jazz, sometimes they're more straight ahead. They don't necessarily play swing music, because it's a whole school of its own with a certain discipline to it. And it's important that they actually are steeped in that in some way. So it took a while to get a whole band together that appreciates that style. But on top of that, as I was saying, we're not playing jazz clubs because I don't have the contact. We go in and we play the Star Bar. We play the Earl.
Right. Okay.
We play all these rock clubs that I was used to playing in front of a rock audience. And that ended up changing the way we present ourselves, because we were rocking the house, and playing this style of jazz in more of a rock fashion.
So let's talk about how you became a hooker. So were you born in Atlanta, or where exactly?
I was born in Atlanta. I can't remember what hospital I was born at, but and I grew up in Atlanta. I think we were in Avondale Estates when I was when I was born, and then moved to Dunwoody, and then about the time I went to middle school, my parents moved to Alpharetta.
Okay.
My
suburbia.
Mom, suburban. But I say that I'm from Atlanta because this is where all my roots are.
Sure.
My mom was born and raised in Atlanta. Her mom was born and raised in Atlanta. they dropped me off at Grandma's house on Benteen Avenue over by the state penitentiary.
Okay.
And I'd hang out in the backyard where my grandpa grew tomatoes and would shoot BB guns at the asses of stray dogs that came through eating his tomatoes. I just and I've got a picture at my house of my great grandfather, whose name was Pink, and his wife's name was Ruby, Pink and Ruby.
Okay.
He's standing in front of a giant wagon full of watermelons that he's harvested and somewhere in downtown Atlanta, around where Underground is.
Yeah.
In front of a bank with the window busted out. Extremely proud of his his crop of watermelons. So I lived in Alpharetta for 7 or 8 years out of my 48 years of life. The rest of it is pretty intimately tied to Atlanta, so I don't say that I'm an Alpharettian. I say that I'm an Atlantan.
No, you're
sure.
you're an Atlantan. I mean, no one would claim an Alpharettian. What's an Alpharettian?
They exist.
So what was your original draw to music? Was it an instrument? Like, what was that initial draw?
I had been singing ever since I could remember.
Okay.
And I have memories far back as kindergarten where the class would sing together. There was a music class and everybody would sing together. I remember the teacher telling me that I sang well, and that being kind of oh, okay, that's sort of a surprise to me. I thought I was just doing the job. And then at some point I got involved in the band, and I said I want to play saxophone, so I got an alto sax that my family rented for me. After a couple years, I became really fascinated with MTV.
Okay.
as an 8-year-old might. Growing up in the 80s.
Okay, so this is 80s MTV with the VJs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Downtown Judy Brown.
Headbangers Ball.
Yep.
120 minutes. And I would take a VHS and record hours and hours of MTV so I could watch it later.
Right.
When it's on all the time. That's all they did was play music videos, but at least I could fast forward and go to my favorite ones. And growing up as a kid in the 80s and watching MTV, there is nobody that's having more fun on stage than the guitar player.
Fair.
Eddie Van Halen.
Yes. He had a good time.
I mean, jumping off stuff, doing somersaults and finger tapping and all this crazy stuff, rolling around the ground. And even go further back, Pete Townsend, with doing the windmill and power slides.
Right.
It just looked like they were having the greatest time. So, and I did have a very cheap guitar that my dad had brought back from a trip to Mexico, and it was like a classical guitar that had steel strings on it for some reason. But it was, it wasn't for kids, but it was, a junk guitar, and I loved strumming around on that thing. I had no idea what I was doing, but I would strum, an open string and then 2 open strings, and then put my hand on it, mute it, and make a rhythm. So I had that feel for the guitar with the right hand and strumming stuff with a pick. So I eventually decided not so interested in saxophone anymore. I kind of want to play guitar.
Right.
My dad said, well, I'm not buying you a guitar, so you could save up your $5 allowance shining my shoes and washing my car and everything. And a year later, I had enough to get a Applause electric guitar, and I walked in there and I threw a bunch of an 8-year-old kid throwing a bunch of crumpled dollar bills on the counter to buy the electric guitar that's luckily been on the wall that entire year and hadn't sold. And once I did that, I took a lesson, and somebody taught me how to play your standard 1-4-5 blues progression in E, and I could play this all day long. It was so much fun. It sounded like a song, and I never looked back on after that. It was always guitar for me. Any chance I had to incorporate guitar into anything, any project for school or any way I could, I was always ready to play guitar for people, in front of people.
So did you ever take any more lessons, or from that point did you just really learn to play by ear, or was it just playing with other people?
I took lessons, and my private instructor at the local music store stuck with me through all the ups and downs of my teenage years, and kept me. I lost focus plenty of times, and it just turned into a 13-year-old that wants to get stoned and jam.
Yep.
But then as I got into high school and realized, okay, if I really do want to be a guitar player, then I need to go to college and go to school for this.
Right.
I better hunker down and learn some jazz and learn and really know my stuff when I go and audition for these people. So got back into taking it really seriously at that point.
Okay. And so is that what got you eventually to Boston?
That's what got me to Boston.
Did you form any bands before that, or were you like?
Oh yeah. I was part of a rap rock group.
Wow.
Called Groovin' High, of which I was. So you see how I might have lost focus. But I was the youngest one in that band. Everybody in that group, besides one other kid who was maybe a year older than me, they were in their 20s.
Okay.
And I was a 17-year-old kid playing guitar with these 23-year-olds that were drinking and smoking weed and getting arrested, that were rapping.
Just all American kids.
Yeah. But they didn't ever write any words down. They were just doing what they called freestyle. Which was, not good.
It usually doesn't turn out so great.
Doesn't turn out
not when I do it anyway.
If you're not really paying attention, you might think that they were saying something. But we would get live recordings. We'd go play the Masquerade, and we'd get a live recording, and we'd listen back, and we'd say, "Oh, you're just talking about weed over and over again, saying the same thing." And anyways, that kind of inspired me to actually write lyrics.
Okay.
Because these were great songs that the musicians in the band worked really hard on and had parts for. Why aren't the vocalists making parts too? So and that group was a great experience, though. I mean, I got to play at the Cotton Club, at the Masquerade, and a bunch of different venues. It was the kind of thing where you're a kid, you're selling tickets out of your pocket, and you're dumb, so you give some away, and then at the end of the night, the club owner says, "So you owe me for this many tickets." And well, shit, I gave away most of them.
Guess I'll go wash some dishes.
But we had a great time, and we had a lot of people there, and there was always this constant conversation about, you need to look more active on stage, you need to be jumping around, you need to be headbanging, all this stuff. And I swear to God, I'm doing that. And then you look at the footage afterwards, and I do look kind of still. So it was a lesson in stage presence for some, in some ways. But when I graduated, it was time to roll and go up to Boston.
So around what year was that? What year were you in Boston?
I graduated in 98.
98. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you're in Boston for how long were you there?
2 years.
2 years.
It's all I can stand.
You didn't like the accent?
That is no place for a Southern boy.
My sister, actually, I mean, not to go off tangent, but my sister lived there for 4 or 5 years, and I kind of like the sound. She's like, it's so cold.
It's so cold.
So cold. And I've been there a few times, but it's just so damn cold.
Oh, man. If it was in Miami or anywhere warm, I guarantee you I would have stayed longer, but I could not tolerate that kind of winter. So I found a kind of a relative of mine, my aunt's ex-husband, who was always a musician. He opened a recording studio here in Atlanta. And that was it. That was enough of an excuse for me to move back to Atlanta.
Okay.
And work as an assistant engineer there.
So is that New Rag Records, or is that
no? New Rag Records that's just my.
That's you.
That's my sole proprietorship, my LLC that I can do. Claim my taxes.
Okay. So you came. Yeah. So you came back.
Yeah. So I came back after 2 years, and at that time it was not just an excuse to go home, but I had really become interested in the making of albums.
Okay.
A lot of records that I was listening to, I started to realize, okay, this is produced by this person and engineered by this person, and this person is on the producer of a number of records that I like, and I could kind of hear their stamp a thread that runs between them, a similarity. So I thought maybe that's for me. I love the idea of being creative in the studio, maybe even with somebody else's music.
Right.
And my uncle Brian, who I was going to work for, he was a legit record producer. Before he opened that studio on his own, he was a producer at this local record label called Ichiban in Atlanta.
Okay.
Which produced rap and blues, hip hop and blues, and so to be able to have the opportunity to learn from somebody that had that experience, I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, at what point did you form Blair Crimmins and the Hookers? Like, when did that come into being? You're back in Atlanta. You said you got kind of burnt out on the whole rock scene. I want to take this in a completely different direction.
I was after the recording studio, I started bringing my own songs to a band and writing my own songs and actually recording some of them there in that studio. That's when I really became a songwriter and a singer-songwriter. And so I started a rock band called Bishop Dawn, I think around 2003.
Bishop Dawn like D-O-N or Dawn like Sunrise? D-O-N.
Yeah. Good question. Got to ask that a lot back those days.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
How insightful of me.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like Bishop Dawn, like, the Dawn.
I haven't had to answer that question in a while. But so I started writing songs, playing with the rock band, and we booked shows on the toured around, slept on floors. It was all just on a mission to bring our band to the world, and it was a lot of fun for a while until things got serious and realized we're not making any money with this. But that was my thing until 2009.
Okay.
And that wannabe rock star mentality really caught up with me in a way that it manifested in this huge life event where I one night decided, after drinking a case of beers or whatever, that I want to walk my dog. And I lived in Little Five Points at the time.
Okay.
And I decided I'm not just going to walk my dog. I'm going to let my dog pull me around on a skateboard in the middle of the night through the parking lot of the apartments that I lived in.
So you're not going down the Freedom Trail.
I'm just going in a circle
through the parking lot.
I'm in a circle, getting pulled by Mama Cass, my big muscular bulldog, and and this is not something. It wasn't the first time I ever did this. I would usually do it in the afternoon, sober. And I just gotten back from some concert, some outdoor festival in Atlanta. We went and saw some bands, and I came back and made this critical error. And I don't remember much, but I woke up in Grady Hospital 3 days later.
Wow.
I have a couple fuzzy memories of the ambulance trying to restrain me because I had become combative, as people do when they have head injuries. I have fuzzy memories of my friend chasing me down and tackling me so they could get me in the ambulance, because I was just convinced that I was fine, and that the substance that was coming out of my ear was not blood, that somebody had poured a drink on my ear, and that all I needed to do was go back into the house and take a nap.
Right.
But the reality was I fell very hard, cracked the back of my skull, and laid there bleeding until one of my neighbors, a girl I knew named Sydney, came out and saw me laying there unconscious in the parking lot.
Wow.
And she starts screaming like bloody hell, and my friends that were in my apartment come out, and then 3 days later, Grady Memorial Hospital. I'm kind of, I guess for those 3 days, I'm just being heavily sedated. It wasn't like a coma or anything, but they were keeping me sedated. And when I finally came to, I'm surrounded by some friends and family, and one of them goes, "Hey there, Tony Hawk."
Oh God!
And they're like, They say, what do you remember? And I'm like, oh damn, I can't believe I'm here right now. And because of the injury to my ear, there was some ringing in my ear, a little bit of hearing loss, which is not too bad. I get by, but it wasn't until about a week later, maybe a few days after I left the hospital, they discharged me after just asking me to count by 7. 7, 14, 21, 28. I'm not a great mathematician, but I could at least do that in a convincing enough way where they said, okay, you're good. Adios.
See ya. Okay.
No kind of list of things that I should be doing to rehabilitate myself, a list of concerns, things I should be avoiding. Maybe don't drink.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that should have been something I thought of anyways, because drinking was the reason I was in the hospital for the most part. But okay, I'm gonna go stay with my parents for a little bit and recuperate, and then get right back to life as usual, I guess. And then, as my mom was cooking dinner one night, my dad said, it smells really good. And I couldn't smell anything.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought, well, that's strange. What's he smelling? I went in the kitchen. No.
Nothing.
I picked up a lemon, squeezed it near my nose, couldn't smell a damn thing.
So this wasn't COVID. This was way before COVID. Way before COVID. Okay.
But that's
so you can't smell anything.
Well, it did come back.
Okay.
Yeah, it did come back eventually. It was really, really unsettling because I had a friend actually before my head injury, somebody that I knew that had no sense of smell, and it was because of a head injury, and his never came back. It's called anosmia.
Okay.
Anosmia. Fact check me on that. But we were aware that he had no sense of smell, and because of that, he was always requesting that we go eat at really terrible restaurants that none of us liked because his sense of taste sucked so bad. So,
can't smell anything.
So yeah,
can't taste anything.
Yeah. I mean, you can taste sweet, sour, salty, but you don't get the aroma. That plays such a huge factor in your sense of taste as well.
Sure.
So I'm freaking out. I'm pretty upset that I can't smell the flowers. Can't smell. It really is. It's more of a loss than people think. And, they make jokes about it. And, oh, well, that's great. I mean, you can't smell your wife when she gets out of the bathroom or something like that. Right. Must be great for your marriage. But you don't realize it's not only sense memory, things that that mean a lot to you, smells that you encounter that bring back memories. Also, safety. I fell asleep while I had something on the stove, and the kitchen filled up with smoke. I had no freaking idea.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, so I dealt with the loss of the sense of smell, and I heard that if it comes back in a year, if it doesn't come back in a year, then it's gone for good. So I was just like, okay, I'll just see how it goes.
Just wait
on that. And in the meantime, musically, I was in the middle of an album that I was doing with my rock band.
Okay.
And the title had already been chosen after a song that I wrote called "That Should Heal Nicely." And the song was about a head injury. Not mine, but my nephew. He fell off a diving board at the neighborhood pool and cracked his skull open, and I wrote this song. But it was starting to seem more autobiographical at this point.
Sure.
And I finished the record, went on hanging out with my usual crew, playing the usual music, and there's just something that I didn't feel comfortable with. I didn't feel like I fit in with this anymore. I didn't feel as if these songs represented me.
Okay.
It represented somebody before the accident, and I'd play and I'd play them and think, this I don't feel like playing this song today. This one's boring, I also started working at a bar. I was bartending, and there was an Emory doctor that would come in and sit at my bar all the time and have lunch, and I never talked to her about what I was feeling because I during that year I was also feeling vertigo, and other after effects of the head injury. So one day I started telling her about my head injury, and she said, oh, well, did you not take this blood test? Did you not go in? Why? Are you still consuming alcohol? By the way, your sense of smell, it can come back if you train it to. You need to be pulling all the spices out of your spice cabinet and closing your eyes and sniffing each one of them, and train your nose to reconnect the olfactory senses so you can smell again. Mm-hmm. She was like a beacon of hope.
Awesome.
I was depressed, and then after talking with her, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this scan. I ended up finding vestibular therapy, which cured my vertigo. Turns out there's little rocks in your ears. Mm-hmm. Crystal, you know about this?
I've heard of
ear crystals. They hang in a sack, kind of like the Lady of Justice, keeping balance on each side. If you bang your head too hard, the crystals pop out, and they're just traveling in your ear canal, and the wrong place, and you'll feel dizzy. So I did this vestibular therapy. They put the ear rocks back where they should be, and then one day my sense of smell started slowly coming back. I thought, I think I smell this garlic. And I said this before, my first big memory of smelling anything was after a fresh Georgia rain. You know that smell?
Yeah.
The hot asphalt in the summertime?
Sure.
Nothing like it. It's one of my favorite smells. And I caught a whiff of that. And it makes me emotional to this day to think about it, because I knew then, all right, it's coming back.
Yeah.
But I still was not feeling great around my friend group, in the music community.
Okay.
I wanted to be isolated, and find myself, and that's when I moved to Cabbagetown. I mean, I wasn't even laughing at people's jokes, Everybody, I felt like such a stranger in a strange land. Everybody would be cracking up about something one of my friends said, and I'd be looking around like, what did I miss? Nothing's funny, And I guess maybe that's depression. Maybe that's just being disoriented from the head injury. But eventually, that jazz album, that Louis Armstrong record, that just was a new beginning for me.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And so when you started to form the new band, mm-hmm. So what was it? Anyone from your old band at all, or is this the whole new, like you're going to clean the slate and start from scratch kind of thing? Or?
Nobody from the old band.
Okay.
Yeah, the things had kind of fallen apart with them. In fact, there was one song that I wrote called "Without You" that I wrote on the ukulele, and it was so different than anything else I had written for this band before. It was very jazzy. It had this. It had this style to it where the lyrics and the music just really came, like they followed each other. Mm-hmm. It sounded kind of like a jazz standard.
Okay.
And it was a ballad on top of that. And so I wrote this song, and I'm convinced this is one of the best songs I've ever written. I'm going to bring it to my band, and what are you guys going to play on this? And the drums start hammering out this beat. Just like I don't think that's it. You know. We played it a couple times live. And I'm always so excited to play this one song. The band's just not. It's not the right instrumentation for this,
right.
So that's when I started to realize it's just time to quit.
Okay.
I want to quit. I'm not starting anything new necessarily. I'm just not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And if anybody at the time asked me, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know. I'm going to maybe not play music for a while. Maybe take a year off. Maybe more. I don't know." Within 6 months, I was trying to find a new drummer, bass player.
Right.
Craigslist. I mean, seriously, responding to clarinet for hire people on Craigslist. Saxophone.
Okay, I was going to say, like, Craigslist. I mean, that was a thing. Is that still a thing? I mean, is Craigslist still a thing?
I'm sure it's still a thing.
It might be. Okay, so you're literally, like, looking for, hey, clarinet player.
Yeah.
Okay. Craigslist.
Uh-huh.
But you do it.
I do it, and I started putting together people. referrals from one guy to another to another to
Sure.
another. And at the same time that I was working on putting together a band, I went out and toured by myself as a solo act all around the Southeast. Any coffee shop, antique store, bookshop that wants a singer-songwriter, open mic, whatever.
So this is just you and a guitar.
Just me and a guitar, ukulele.
Have you incorporated the banjo at this
Banjo,
point?
yeah.
Okay.
I think yeah.
Now, are you
Eventually.
playing your songs, or are you playing covers, or a mix of both?
Playing the songs that I have. By the time I started touring as solo act, I think I had 6 or 7 original songs, and I would play some cover tunes too.
Okay.
And
So all around the Southeast, though.
yeah, anywhere I could. There was no amount of money too low for me. I was gonna make it to that gig and selling CDs and everything. Just hustling. It was great.
Yeah.
It was just me and my dog. We'd sleep in the back of the car. Sometimes.
What kind of ride are you pimping for this venture?
It was a Ford, station wagon type car. It had a long back to it, so I could fit a long keyboard in the back. And if I wanted to sleep in the car, I could take the keyboard out and I could lay in the keyboard case.
Okay.
And it was nice and cushy. Next to the soft glow of a Pilot truck stop billboard.
Somewhere between Montgomery and Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Just like in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
God.
Between Knoxville and Chattanooga. And that was a great way for me to find people that liked what I was doing. And then at the same time building this band in Atlanta who was playing the rock venues. It started out with just me, a keyboard player, bass and drums. Then I found a sax player.
Yep.
And then I found another reed player who could do clarinet. Then I found a trumpet player.
Yep.
And then trombone. Then other keys players that were better stride guys. Just finally got myself in with that circle of people that that jazz scene. I was never part of it. It was all guitar and drums before. Now,
So is your full set right now? Because I saw you guys play live the other night. So I saw the ensemble that included keyboard, drums, or percussion, bass.
Mm-hmm.
What I call the wind section. So, so basically, like 2 horns and a clarinet, and you. I mean, just bouncing between the banjo, the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But is there more? I mean, like do you
That's
bring
the full
more?
band. 7-piece band is the full idealized version of the band.
Okay.
Yeah, three horns, keys. On the road, a lot of times we'll travel as 6, and that'll either be a 3-piece horn section or it'll be a 2-piece horn section and keys. And that's just a great way to divvy up the hotel rooms, 2 per room, enough room in the van and everything.
Do you ever do anything with a trio, or do you keep it to the 6-7? Okay.
Yeah, we do trio shows.
So when you do the trio show, is it you, a horn, and a bass, or like how do you do the trio?
Depends.
Okay.
Yeah, I do trio shows with 1 horn, me and the bass. We've done trio shows, me, bass, drums. Gosh, I mean, after 2020, I really opened up my mind to the possibility of just, take the gig, make it work, find, whatever the budget is.
Yep.
We could do this.
Okay.
Just bring less people. Because at the beginning,
That's fair.
I was like, I'm not going to take this gig unless I could show up with the full band.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I was so hard-headed about that, at least at first, because it allowed me to get around and show everybody this great band that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But during COVID and all that downtime, I did a lot of practicing.
Okay.
I'd really expanded as a player, not just as a singer-songwriter, but I really worked on my playing so that I could hang with these awesome jazz musicians. I was just a rock guy, and all the jazz musicians in my group, they're better than me, So
I was going to say, you could have fooled me. I mean, I watched the show and I was very
thank you.
Impressed. I think all of you in your own way you were all very polished.
I was kind of speaking from the past mentality.
Sure.
Like I was in a band with a bunch of people that were better than me.
Gotcha.
And I after getting the compliment 100 times, hey, your band is amazing.
It starts to say,
you know what? I'm getting fucking tired of hearing that.
Okay.
So the pandemic gave me this really great time to where instead of constantly hustling, booking the show, I mean, people might not understand how much time goes into managing a group like this, you know, and it was such a load to organize the band, get everybody booked for the gig. If this trumpet player can't make it, then I have to get another one.
Right.
And maybe they don't know the song, so then I have to rehearse with them.
Yep.
You know? So that was a lot of work. For me to have the time during COVID to really work on myself as a musician, now, you know, when I play, people come up and say, hey, you guys are great. I just needed a year and a half to catch up to everybody.
So, correct me. Please correct me. I love it when people correct me, because I'm sure I'm going to get this wrong. But by my math, you have 6 albums. And so here's my analysis, right? So, 2010, debut album, The Musical Stylings Of.
Yeah.
And then 2013, I found 2 albums. There was a Sing-Alongs album and Live in Little 5. So that's 3. And then You Gotta Sell Something, 2017. 2019, children's album called All Aboard. And then 2021, you came out with OK Boom. And that is featuring the covers of the band, the Talking Heads, Bowie.
Our first cover album after, once again, everything happens at the merch booth. People come up and say, when they were saying that I love your band, also at the merch booth, they come up to me after a show and say, which one of these CDs has Psycho Killer on it? Which one of these has the song you didn't write?
Right.
And sorry, man, I didn't record those. But then eventually, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'll just give you what you want.
Boom. Okay. Boom. Here it is.
Okay.
Jambalaya, Psycho Killer, Let's Dance. We did the cover album.
Hank Williams.
Hank Williams, yeah.
Yep.
And then the second kids record, Soul Shine.
Okay.
Which I did fairly recently. I think that was 23.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
So I missed that one, but I saw a new single
and
came
an EP.
out. And an EP.
The EP, State Hotel EP.
Yes, I did see that. In 2025, you just released a new single, St. James Infirmary, or is that...
Yeah, we're releasing some of our live in the studio performances, some stuff that we've done in studio and filmed, basically live music videos. So we're releasing those tracks for streaming. And we're going to do some more of those. Those will all be under the name Live in the Studio. And then we'll also release some original stuff, one song at a time. I have given up on the dream of doing another album.
Okay.
At least an album all at once.
Gotcha.
I don't have the desire or the resources to write 12 songs and then go in and try and record them all at one time. Nor do I think it's beneficial.
So. That's actually one of the things I did want to ask you about, to create an album that has 10 to 12 tracks on it, because you've done it, right? Like how, from soup to nuts, how long does that take, and does it just depend? It just seems like a shit ton of work.
Well, so the last album I did, the kids album, that would be the last time I wrote all the music and lyrics, and then went in the studio and did it, and. What helped about that was that it was financed by somebody else.
Okay.
There's a school, a local preschool daycare here called Soul Shine. Fantastic preschool and daycare. They have locations here in Kirkwood, Decatur, and East Atlanta. And it's a permaculture school, so they teach children about conservation, ecology, the environment, trying to raise the generations of kids that are not just consumers, but actually fit into the ecology in a way that that leaves less of a carbon footprint. So they approached me because I had the first kids album out, and I also did a number of short videos as Captain Crimmins, my kids entertainer. I had a kids show that I was working on, and we put out a few episodes of that. They wanted me to write.
Does Ninja Puppet Productions somehow tie into any of this, or no?
No,
Okay.
Ninja Puppets doesn't.
Okay.
We did some other work with them, but we wanted to do a kids show, the Captain Crimmins and the Storyboat Band kids show, and before 2020, and I had puppeteers on board, director on board, an animator on board. Then COVID hit, and then the whole thing fizzled out. And me and my wife were in the garage with our own puppets, making this show, and it was great. But it couldn't last because it was too much work for the two of us. So maybe we'll do that again. But that's what caused this school to find me, and they wanted me to write an entire album of songs based on the earth and ecology and conservation. And they're paying for the recording of it. In that particular case, I'm gonna get to work. And I wrote all the songs within 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And then send off the songs to my trumpet player, my sax player, to make horn arrangements for, which I didn't always do that. Back in the beginning, the first 3 albums of original stuff, I wrote horn arrangements, which is dreadful because it's a lot of freaking work, and I'm not that great of a notator, but nobody else was going to do it for me. I am very fortunate to have these super talented, more talented than me, horn players in the band that I could sub that stuff out to. So they make the horn arrangements, and we go in, we knock this album out in 3 days, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You have multiple albums. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I just released the very first one on vinyl because we never put that on vinyl.
That's cool.
And it was something that people had always asked about. Why didn't you put this one on vinyl? And my excuse was, well, it's too long. It won't fit. And I wasn't intentionally lying. It's kind of what I believed. But after a while, I thought, okay, it's been 15 years since the first Hookers album came out.
Okay.
Let's do a commemorative pressing. And in order to do that, I had to listen to it because they were going to remaster it for vinyl.
Sure.
Hadn't sat down and listened to that album in a long time, and it was really great. It was really enjoyable to connect with that young guy that was still starting out and just figuring everything out as he goes. Got probably 30 different musicians playing on this album because you can't keep one of them for long enough, and it took forever to make. So it was really a labor of love, and I think that's the one that I'm still most connected to because of that. And it's got songs on it that people. Well, there's one called Old Man Cabbage, which is a pretty popular one, and there's one called Oh Angela, and man, it's like my barometer for if we have fans in the crowd. No matter where we go around the country, I'll say, okay, this next one's called Oh Angela, and then I could hear people in the crowd, screaming because it's a sing-along, and they know that this their time in the show where they could sing along, and so that tune gives us life when we could be somewhere brand new, a town we've never played before, and hear the crowd anxious to sing along with us on that one. It's really great.
So I want to talk a little bit more about just current day, right? Life of a hooker, or the life of a hooker. There are a lot of different ways we can go with this, but so touring.
Yeah.
How many shows do you guys play a year? I'm just curious.
Not that many. 60.
Okay.
And that might be a lot for some people, but no, we are. That might be a lot for some people. For some people, they're living on the road doing 250 shows a year. Everybody that I play with has other stuff going on, so we're balancing, playing the music that we love. We're balancing that along with giving lessons or having a baby,
right? Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. And now because of the kids album and the school Soul Shine that financed it. That I started working with them, and I go and play music at the school.
Yep.
They have 3 different locations. I play in every single classroom.
That's great.
At all 3 locations, and then they referred me to another school that's has a similar philosophy on the environment called Turning Sun, and I go to those 3 locations too. So I do have this other part-time job that fills up a couple days a week, and it's great. I mean, I want to come home
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
And then there's also, we get hired to play events, weddings, office parties,
Sure.
things like that. So, and I don't scoff at that stuff because they're hiring us. They're not hiring us to play somebody else's music. They like what I wrote. They like what we do. So for us to, I think we're in a really great position with that, to be able to make decent money playing shows, to get hired by people that want us to get guarantees, but they're not saying, hey, play Journey. You know?
Can you play Faithfully?
Right.
Or what's the other one? Don't Stop Believing. Can you play?
Yeah,
Can
exactly. They're saying play Oh Angela, play Old Man Cabbage.
Play your stuff.
Sure.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So do you mainly, when you're playing shows, is it mainly around the Southeast? Is it throughout the U.S.? Like,
we
globally?
do
Like,
a ton of stuff around Georgia, a ton of stuff around the Southeast. Florida has really been demanding Blair Crimmins and the Hookers a lot lately, because we started playing a festival down there in Live Oak called Spirit of Swanee.
Okay.
And from that festival, people went back to all their other, where they live in Florida, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, and now they come out to see us in those towns.
That's
so we
cool.
have a pretty good following in Florida. I mean, we really love traveling up the East Coast. When we get to Virginia, Pennsylvania, up to New Jersey, New York, I don't know. We do well up there.
Okay.
We do tours on the West Coast, mostly Pacific North, up from San Francisco up to Oregon, Washington. We love the scene up there. People in that area dig what we do, and I feel like they just have a great appreciation for live music.
Yep.
That's played on instruments, real instruments.
Real instruments.
Yeah.
Is there a favorite town, city, venue, like when you go? So, is there one place where you play, like, man, I always love playing here? Like, it just feels good.
Oh gosh. Don't put me on the spot. We tour. We do regional tours, so we'll go and do a run through the Midwest and then come home. Do a run up to the East Coast and come home. One of our favorite places. Oh man, there is Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Wow, never saw that one coming.
You didn't see that coming, did you? So I have a booking agent now.
Is it Curtis Day or what?
Prater Day.
Prater Day. Sorry.
And I've been working with this agency for I maybe since 3 or so years after the band formed. Before that, I was doing my own stuff and sending out press kits, physical press kits with the CD and the one sheet, the picture, and all that. Hundreds and hundreds of envelopes that got sent out all over the place to just anywhere. And you send out 100 of them, you get one reply back.
Right.
During that time, one of the replies was from Music Fest in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Music Fest, music with a K. And they actually responded, and they booked me. And I went up there, and we played their festival. They had multiple stages in different rooms, and I've been playing it almost every year since.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's it's a great town. It's an old steel town.
Yep.
The steel town, the steel mills are defunct. They're like ruins.
Mm-hmm.
They look. It's like visiting the Roman Forum. It's just like a shell of what used to be.
Yep.
But the town itself now. I mean, there's a college there, and the town itself is really thrives on the arts. And
Awesome.
This is a big festival. It lasts a couple weeks, and they have free music all over town. They also have a ticketed stage that brings in huge acts, Kesha and Slash, and I can name a bunch of the people. Yeah, the big draws. But we've been playing that festival for so long, and I could walk around that town, and everybody comes up and says, "Blair, what's up?" Hey,
that's awesome.
They skipped us 1 year, and when we came back after that year, they skipped us. Everybody was they said we were so pissed. We can't believe they didn't have you back.
So this doesn't mean anything. So I've never heard of this festival. Is it the same time every year? Like the same time of year every year? Like,
it's usually,
like in New Orleans Jazz Fest is always the last week of April through the first week of May. Like when's the Music Fest in Bethlehem?
It's in August.
August?
Yeah.
You said it's like 2 or 3 weeks long? I mean,
2.
2
I think
weeks.
it's 2 weeks long, yeah.
That's really cool. So I'm assuming you guys are going back again this year.
I hope so. Hope they don't skip over us again like they did in 2023. That was a mistake. And it's just something that we sort of count on it at this point to link together an East Coast tour. You know, we want to get up there and play Virginia, play New York, play Jersey, and get as far up as we can. And we sort of think, okay, well, Music Fest's probably going to call us here in a minute, and we'll have that as an anchor to go.
And we're right here. We're already here.
Yeah.
And it's better to go up there in August, right,
Yes.
as opposed to January.
Oh yeah, I've been up there in January because a fan from Music Fest booked us for his wedding in February, and we got that experience.
So let me ask you this: I was the cover band player in college and never wrote anything original. And I'm just curious about the business of being a musician, right? Clearly, I mean, you're for profit. Right? you prefer to make money as opposed to not making money. So
that's where the name Hookers comes from.
Okay,
we're not doing this shit for
ask
kicks.
The question. Like, why Blair Crimmins and the Hookers? Like, tell me why. The name.
It's a multifaceted answer, and I say that in all sincerity because, for one, I don't want you to think that I'm just profit-driven guy. That's not like a real artist or anything.
Yep.
It came down to me needing to find musicians that would play with me, you know.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wasn't gonna call up these guys and say, "Hey, I'm in a band. Do you want to join my band?" No, you got to call them and say, "Hey, here's the gig. It's $100
right
tonight."
Yeah.
And then afterwards, see you later.
Right.
You know, maybe we'll play again. Maybe I'll see you down the road. So that, coupled with the disillusionment that I had for the music industry and trying to portray myself in some way that wasn't authentic.
Yep.
That's a hooker. You know, like what's your name? What do you want it to be?
I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
How much you got?
Exactly. That's the way. That's the way I felt trying to fit in and succeed in the music industry. And it's like, enough of this shit. That's why in the song "March of the Hookers" I say, you know, I'm a hooker too, because I could sit here and say and act like I'm completely liberated from that mentality, but you know, it's always there. There's always somebody that has an opinion on what you should be doing, what you should look like. I get people that just the other night I was playing a show and after the song I hear there's these two guys in front of me. One of them goes, "The gain's too loud on that guitar for this style of music."
Wow.
And I said, "For this style of music, realize I just played an original song with my original band. What do you think you're the authority on?" Exactly.
Check out the acorns on that guy.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, there's always somebody that's more authentic, more traditional, looks cooler, dresses the part, or whatever. But ultimately, it's just, you know, we're trying to play a gig, have some fun, make some money, go home.
Well, so I guess this is really like in the spirit of the question. As far as making a profit in this business, do you make more money selling merch? Is it booking shows, playing live shows? Is it selling albums? Is it like cutting a deal with Apple? Like what's the most profitable work for you?
Cutting a deal with Apple. It's definitely not from streaming services.
Okay.
That's
You're just pissing in the wind with that? Or?
I mean,
I'm not knocking Apple. I mean, they carry this podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me, even though I don't make any money. But
it's a small check that, you know, helps cushion some of the expenses of,
but, I mean, like,
of running a band.
Your albums are for sale at Walmart. So I'm just like curious. Like,
they are?
If you Google Walmart, like Blair Crimmins, like you actually like.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know how you could like. How'd you get a deal with Walmart? I mean,
as my record label, New Rag Records, I'd secured a distribution deal that has also physical sales.
Yep.
But it's, you know, it's it goes through a bigger company called Alliance, which means that every record store has the ability to get the hard copies of the CDs and the records.
Okay.
So Walmart probably has it for sale on their website.
Yes.
You don't walk in there and see it.
Yeah, it's on their website, correct?
Yeah, so you order it from Walmart and they say, Alliance, ship this out for us.
Right, okay.
Good on Walmart. The merch sales, the majority of money made off of the merchandise is after shows. I mean, hands down.
So T-shirts.
4 times as much as I do online or through streaming. T-shirts, records. People still buy CDs. Just depends on the crowd, the age group specifically. You know, people. We sell flasks with Blair Crimmins hookers on it, hats, all that stuff. I love selling merch. People walk up and they say, "Why are you back here selling this stuff?" Because I like it, and because I get to talk to everybody.
Yep.
And have conversations and take pictures and stuff. So merch is definitely a big part of it. I do not pay myself a lot out of the merch. I pretty much just put all that
back into buying more merch.
It just keeps cash flow going.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no predicting how much crap you might have to pay for as a traveling band. The trailer tire flies off on the highway.
Yeah.
You got cracked windshields, or your hotel fell through, and now you got to spend twice as much. It's just crap happens.
Yeah.
And I never at the end of a tour say, "Hey, guys, I know I promised you this much, but I got to pay for this broken axle." No, the money's there.
The gig's the gig. Yeah.
Does it hurt when it leaves the account? Yes, but we'll I build that into our financing, and then. But the bulk of the money that I make is from the actual shows.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, for one, because I actually pay myself for those.
Okay.
But play shows, hustle, occasionally. Take shows that don't pay enough, but only if they're really, really fun.
Yeah.
Or something that really means a lot to me. That people talk about those gigs where you get paid by exposure. That's not something I jump on.
You have been an opening act for the Preservation Hall Jazz Band for Old Crow Medicine Show. So I just didn't know if you're going out on the road at one point with Old Crow Medicine Show and you're doing shows around the country, or is it just like, hey, we're going to open for Old Crow Medicine Show. They're playing a show at the Fox. We're going to open for them.
Yeah, that's something that gets I get contacted by the promoter, the producer of the show, saying they need an opener for Old Crow Medicine Show at this venue, or the owner of Georgia Theater where we played for Preservation Hall.
Yep.
And in that kind of situation, not to divulge all the details, but if the money's not great, I'm gonna just pay it all to the band, because I want to do that show.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't ever ask. I'm not ever gonna ask anybody to show up and play with me for free.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
But you were talking about a little while ago. Well, you've used this word a couple times as we've been talking. It's the word authentic, and that's one thing I can say about your performance. Is, the way you guys dress, the way. Tell us more about that. Like, what goes into, like, for you guys, like, getting ready for a show, like what you wear, everything is just right on point.
Oh, for me, I'm a clothes guy.
Okay.
I just a clothes horse maybe is I think that the term. So I'm down to dress. I like having the excuse to wear these clothes.
Right.
I can't show up in every situation wearing that stuff without getting some funny looks. But I get plenty of them because I wear them and wear them before the show and after the show. And but it's not a costume for me. But it does sort of empower me.
Yeah.
In some way.
That's like a persona almost. It's like you're drawing something out. And it doesn't come across as forced or hokey. I don't know, man. It's very genuine.
It puts me in that spot where I don't. When I look down at my feet and see those wingtips on, my brain goes, okay, it's time to perform. No,
man, that's cool. Is it okay if we jump into your personal life?
Sure.
For a minute.
What do you want to know?
Well, so I guess you met your wife in 2010, You guys got married in 2014, but so she's a comedian. Mm-hmm. You're a musician, right? And you guys both have to perform. So how does that work in your household?
She was not a comedian when we met.
Right.
Well, I mean, she hadn't realized that yet.
Okay.
You know. So the way I met Davi was we had a series of shows at the Star Bar, mm-hmm. one of the rock venues that I mentioned, where
Yep.
Where we started out playing. We were doing a residency there, playing every week, and I wanted to have each night be different themed. So I hired some puppetry guys to do a puppetry night. So they perform a puppet show before we went on, do some puppet stuff while we were playing. I hired a circus act to do a bunch of circus performances. I had, I think I had a comedy night. I don't know. Everything was, I just wanted it to be I didn't want it to be monotonous. I didn't want to do the same thing every night. A different reason for people to come.
Right.
See the same show every Wednesday for however long. Cabaret night. I wanted a cabaret night.
Okay.
So, once again, like looking for a trumpet player when you don't know anybody in the jazz world. Who the heck do I know that's going to do cabaret? Well, there was a group in town called Dames of Flame,
okay.
and a band called King Size, and they worked together. This band had a burlesque dancers,
okay.
and King Size was the front man was Big Mike.
I remember King Size.
Mike Geyer, who is now popularly known as Puddles the Clown.
Ah.
If you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so I started kind of like peeking on their profile or whatever, and I found this group called the Pelvis Breastleys. And it was a group of girls that did all Elvis cover tunes, and they were performing outside of the Variety Playhouse before the King Size Dames of Flame show. And I knew one of the girls in that band because she worked at the local radio station that was playing us. Well, not the local radio. She worked at 99X, and 99X was kind of into us.
Yep.
So I went out and saw her show, and it was there at the Highland Ballroom after the Pelvis Presley show that I saw my would-be wife Davi. She dressed as a jailbird with the prison stripes on and a little hat with giant fake eyelashes, playing the washboard and the Pelvis Presleys. And so I was talking with the girl that I knew in the band. Hey, how'd you get that gig with Dames of Flame and King Size? And she said, oh, well, that girl over there is connected with them. She actually performs with the Dames of Flame sometimes, pointing at Davi. And I said, can I get her contact information? I want to set something up. And I wrote her, and I told her what I was trying to do, and she said, I can't get the Dames of Flame to do this because they're too big for this, and I don't really have that much of a pull with them. She was a curtain girl. Comes out there and picks up all the clothes that the dancers left and then closes the curtain. So she said, but I would really like to do my own thing, and I could talk to some of the girls and we could put together a show for this. And so we collaborated. We met at 97 Astoria with some of her friends that were in Dames of Flame that wanted to do something different that wasn't just sexy, that was actually really funny. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Dames of Flame had really funny stuff too, but they had their own ideas that they wanted to bring. So we started working together, and by the time the show came around, we were a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And she named her group Davina and the Harlots.
Okay.
And Davi is short for Davina.
Yeah.
And so Davina and the Harlots and Blair Crimmins and the Hookers were playing a lot of shows together. Hookers and Harlots were playing a lot of shows together around East Atlanta.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys still do things together, or have the Harlots hung it up? Or
The Harlots kind of hung it up. Different girls went different directions, moved to Miami, New York, and everything. And it was a lot of stress on Davi to try and coordinate with people and do rehearsals. So I think that's what led her into comedy.
Okay.
A one-woman show.
Yep.
That, and coupled with the job that she got working on morning radio.
Yes.
She was the comic relief for an otherwise comically deprived morning radio show for for quite a while.
I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I guess we don't have to name names. We don't.
No, well, I wouldn't do him a favor.
Oh, that's a good one. So you guys have been married now for more than 10 years, and you got a couple dogs. You live in East Atlanta. When you guys want to just, I don't know, chill and get out of Atlanta, is there a spot that you like to go that's drivable where you just chill?
Yeah, it used to be Charleston, but that place got bananas out of control, expensive. We loved Folly Beach.
Yes. Yep.
We're going to. Asheville holds a special place in my heart. I spent a lot of time there when I was a kid in Asheville, camping and kayak canoeing and stuff like that. So we're actually going to Asheville this weekend.
Really cool.
Yeah, for my birthday, she rented a little cabin up there. It's just there's not a lot, but a hot tub and a fireplace and a kitchen. So we'd like to just go and shack up there with the dogs and cook food and enjoy the scenery. We love New Orleans. We have that was a big part of the beginning of our relationship, was filming the Video State Hotel in New Orleans together.
Yeah.
And then we got snowed out of Atlanta because it actually started snowing while we were filming, and we had to stay in a hotel room there for 3 extra days. But we love that town.
Let me ask you a question. Do you wear hats? Are you a hat guy?
I have so many hats.
Literal or figurative hats?
No, literal hats.
Okay.
There's a wall, and Davi too. There's a wall in our house that has dozens of hats hanging on it. Okay.
So this is the gift portion of the show. You and Davi seem like you're movie buffs, because I was listening to one of her podcasts, Davi the Scapegoat, where you're the best at being the worst.
We're the best at being the worst, yeah.
It's a great show.
With that horrible harmony that we do.
We'll plug Davi's show. So, but I heard you guys bantering about movies. So, did you ever see the movie Seven?
Yes.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? So I have the mystery box.
Okay.
Here, but it's filled with hats. So I'm just gonna save you the suspense. Every guest on Southern Character gets to pick their style of hat. So there are 3 styles to choose from. I'll show you them one by one. There is the blue and white. I call this one the coastal. So there's Retire Southern on the front. My friend says, James, your logo looks like a Allman Brothers album.
Nothing wrong with that.
And then Southern Character on the back.
I love it.
So that is the coastal.
Okay.
Up next, since you said camping, you might like this one. This is the campfire. So this is a green and black.
Okay.
theme.
Green's my favorite color.
So that's the campfire. And then last but not least, this is not black and gold. I had to correct some people, but this is khaki and navy.
Okay, khaki. Oh, and navy.
So, and this is, I call this one the classic. So you get to pick which hat you would like.
Absolutely. Green.
You're going green.
Yeah, always.
So I will tell you,
green.
most people that have been on the show have picked the campfire. I picked the green.
Oh, really? They picked the green.
Yeah, so I did a show not too long ago with Ford Fry, who has a bunch of restaurants around Atlanta in the Southeast. Yeah, he picked the campfire, but that's a very popular
The blue
option.
is quite nice too. But
you talking about the light blue and white?
yeah, the coastal is really nice too. I bet a lot of people in the South pick this green because it's almost like a camo.
Yeah, it's like a hunter thing.
Yeah,
Would Davi wear one of those or no?
for sure.
Okay, well you pick one for her.
Can I give her the blue one?
Yeah, the
That's
coastal.
my second favorite, and we could trade. Coastal.
Get coastal. Get coastal on that ass. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you wanted to talk about?
I'm just wondering if I properly explained my worthiness to be on this podcast. You said it's for people that blaze their own trail. Did I prove that?
To me?
without listening to outside influence. And listen, I've been rejected by record labels since I started this group, and that's not really something that I pine over anymore, because it's not something that I need. Like I said, we're in a position where we make enough money with this band and have our other projects to where we're happy with our life. But every time I get put in front of somebody that's in the industry, the word is niche. This is, but it's a niche thing. I don't know. Is it a niche thing? It's like 150 years of jazz tradition is a niche.
Kind of like all music emanated from this, is it really?
Yeah,
Niche?
exactly. So that gets a little frustrating because we go and play and perform for people, and nobody ever. I mean, people might be confused and not know exactly what to call it. I mean, if we're in New Orleans, of course, everybody knows what the hell this is. But in other places, people say, "So, what do you call this type of music? What is it? Bluegrass? Is it funk?" No, man. I mean, you see a banjo and they see a banjo and they think bluegrass.
Right.
No, it's not. It's hot jazz. It's ragtime jazz, whatever. But people might be confused by it, but they still we can win over that audience. They don't know what it is, but they still like it. So my question is, from all my 15 years of touring around and playing for audiences that have never heard this type of music and them loving it, what's so damn niche about that? You know?
I love that. Mic drop. No, seriously, I think that's a great place to leave it. Thank you for listening to the Southern Character Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it and follow us wherever you do podcast. You can also check out our website and socials, retiresouthern.com, for great content and, of course, the merch. Like, Blair loves our merch.
Man. I'll sell it for you.
Go to a hooker show and pick up some Retired Southern merch. But yeah, if you have any questions or feedback, you can email me directly, james@retiresouthern.com. Yeah, Blair, thanks for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
And,
thanks for inviting me.
Can't wait to see you play again, man. It's a good time.
Come out and see us. We're playing in New Orleans.
Awesome.
March 1st.
March
during
1st?
Mardi Gras.
I'll actually...
Not making much money off that one.
Where are you playing? Where are you playing in New
The
Orleans?
Always Cabaret and Lounge.
The Always Cabaret and Lounge. Okay.
So we just fit right in there because they're going to have dancing girls right after us.
So I am going to the Mardi Gras this year. I'm going...
No kidding.
I will, you know what? I'll swing by.
Yeah, come on
and
by.
we'll check it out.
I lifted the cover charge. It's free. Just come on by.
I'll pay the cover. I'm happy to pay the cover, man.
Tip. Just tip us.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.